Welcome to the Hoop Collective. We talk about the NBA. This one caused a little angst in our little group here because not everybody thought this was relevant, and I think it's really relevant. So if you don't like it, blame this guy.
By the way, if you don't like it, you're siding with Bontemps, so reconsider your opinion.
I have decided that one of the things I look forward to all year long is the fourth quarter of the All-Star game, because I think that the Elam Ending, and I know it already happened, but the Elam Ending is a referendum on where you rank in the league. Because if you're out there and they're running plays for you and you're involved in the Elam Ending, it means that the top players and the top coaches want you out there. This is why the first time they did it in Chicago in 2020, there was they played 20 minutes of game time and there was one sub, because it was the dudes out here going to do. And I realized that Chris Paul was hurt and Durant was hurt. We didn't have the full complement in Cleveland. But to me, it's are you an Elam Ending player or are you not? And I would guess McMahon, that's Ben McMahon. Sorry, I didn't introduce him. And Tim Bontemps joining us as well.
Boo.
I would guess if you were not out there for the Elam Ending, if you were Luka Doncic, if you were Nikola Jokic, who was on the bench for that, you would be if you were Ja Morant, you'd be I want to be in that game for the Elam Ending. And I want to talk about who our Elam Ending players would be if we had to put our guys out there. So McMahon, I'm going to start. And the guy who pretty much won. I know that Steph won the MVP, but in all honesty, if I had a vote, I might have caused some controversy because I would have had some weird feelings, because Steph was not a major factor in the Elam Ending, and Giannis,
I know he only scored 50.
I know he scored 46 of them in the first three quarters.
McMahon, you have to remember that the fourth quarter of the Elam Ending is the most important moment of the entire regular season, when half the players in the game are not playing more than 12 minutes in the game. So, it's very important.
Your vote would have been important. Your vote would have been?
I would have gone with Giannis.
You would have voted for Giannis.
Oh, no.
Okay, I just want to point out.
I would have been browbeat to vote for Steph, but I seriously would have considered going with Giannis because I thought he was amazing.
I do want to point out that your favorite MVP candidate for all things, and the guy you're still wanting, didn't win it last year, even though you wimped out on voting for him, ran out of gas in the Elam Ending.
Embiid?
Embiid was huffing and puffing down the stretch.
I know he was, but he was making plays. LeBron, Giannis, and Embiid were making all kinds of plays. Again, I'm taking Giannis. McMahon, who is on your list for if you had your Elam Ending team?
I'm taking Jokic, and I'm mad that he wasn't on the floor. Now, fair. I get it, because it was going to be about Giannis and Steph, or I'm sorry, it was going to be about primarily about LeBron and Steph. Those are the guys who are going to be taking the shots. Those are guys who are going to be having the ball in their hands. But listen,
they went with Jared Allen.
Well, listen, this is also
LeBron went with Jared Allen over Jokic. And by the way, Jokic has won some games with great basket defense this year. Yeah, I'm not endorsing that.
The flaw in this whole argument you're constructing about the Elam Ending is you're acting like the best players are playing in these moments when half these guys were on minutes limits in this game. Ja Morant clearly was on some sort of minutes limit. He only played 16 minutes. Jimmy Butler never plays in All-Star games. I would want him playing in these games. He played 7 minutes. Fine. He doesn't give a crap about the All-Star game.
Well, that's a Jimmy personal policy. I'm not. I think Morant rather. That might have just been a hey first timer. It could have been. It could have been. You're on the rise, but
it could have been that too.
We're not talking about what happened in the game. We're talking about who you want.
Yes,
if you want to say Ja or Jimmy, say it.
I am rejecting your premise from the beginning that this is one of the most important moments of the regular season. That's what I'm rejecting.
I love it.
Yeah, that's different.
It's one of the most entertaining.
Yes, that's different. It's very fun. I agree. It's made the All-Star game watchable.
When you look at a player and you're evaluating him in the playoffs, I look at it and say, 2-2 game 5, are you going to show up or not?
Yeah. So,
Not-
so let me ask you a
Not
question.
Tuesday night in February. So that's what I'm saying.
So let me ask you a
Elam
question.
Ending.
Let me ask you.
Ending. The All-Stars are all there.
Can I ask
Who's
you a
making on the
question?
court?
Can I ask you a question?
You just
Yeah.
did.
Would you, is this just a construction to take a bat to Nikola Jokic in your
No,
ongoing argument to litigate what happened last
I
year?
just said,
Should he have been on the court
Jokic-
instead of Jared Allen? Yes or no?
Monty Williams and LeBron James, the people who made the decision.
Should
for
he
Team
have
LeBron,
been on the court instead of Jared Allen? Yes or no? That's
Pro-
it. Yeah. What do
I
you think
would've-
should have happened?
I would have probably put him out there on the court instead of Jared Allen. However, the fact that LeBron and Monty Williams put Jared Allen out there is a great compliment to Jared Allen. And that's what I'm talking about. This is about complimenting players, not dissing them.
Well, and
I said-
they clearly wanted him to bang and defend Embiid.
And he did. And he did.
Sure
It was
did.
pretty
He had
good.
a heck of a block. By the way, the guy that I've been saying all year has been the best player on the Cavs. Part of the reason I brought this up is I was going to win the argument either way because Brian was going to say that Jared Allen should be out there and then I would win that argument. So there we go. That was a good job by
It's
me.
not,
Well
again,
constructed.
you're talking about the game that already happened. I'm talking about who do you want out there?
Yeah, and I'm
Is
saying
looking-
Jokic. I want the guy who wins games with clutch passing, with clutch defense this year on multiple occasions, and has
I
a
agree.
ton of clutch buckets.
I agree.
Bontemps, who
I'm
you
not
taking?
saying-
I mean, he was not eligible to play in the game, but with Giannis off the board, I will take Kevin Durant. I would be very happy if Kevin Durant is on my team in a moment like that. As we saw last year, he almost single-handedly won a playoff series with, one guy playing on half a leg. So he's a pretty good choice, I think.
And what do you think about, so they had Curry out there, and I get why they had Curry out there because the guy was having the hottest shooting.
Part of the reason Steph was not effective in the fourth quarter of the game was because he was trying to set the scoring record because the game doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Why is he still talking about the game in Cleveland? I'm talking about this as a construct, McMahon.
Right.
Let
You
me
were
ask
about
you
to
this.
say Steph wasn't good in the fourth quarter, and I was giving context to
wasn't.
why.
He
Yes.
wasn't good in the fourth quarter. He almost cost his team the game. And I would have thought about not voting for him for MVP because of it, because the only thing that part of the game that matters is the Elam Ending. I don't know if you've been watching the NBA, but that's the truth. McMahon, Steph is out there. Do you want Steph out there or do you want Luka Doncic out there?
I want Steph. I do. I want the Steph shooting out there.
Why can't you have both out there? Why do we got to choose?
And honestly, Luka has
You gonna
had
bench LeBron?
Luka has had a lot of clutch moments. But overall, Luka's track record as a clutch player is definitely hit and miss, as is everybody's. But I think especially Luka. And look, I think Luka is definitely on track to get there. But one part about being a great closer, it's hard to be a great closer when you have to play your way into shape every year.
Sure.
Well, depending on how you have to want to align it, obviously you're going to have LeBron out there. I don't think, but I think if I had to choose between Steph and Chris Paul,
I was going to say that's the guy who you want out there.
I'm taking Chris Paul right now.
As long as both of his thumbs work. Chris Paul is the best closer in the game. And you wrote about the Suns' clutch prowess earlier this year. That has certainly continued. The numbers that he's put up in crunch time are absolutely ridiculous, and it's not a new thing. He's done it in Phoenix. He did it in Oklahoma City. He did it in Houston. Honestly, one of the things that went wrong for the Rockets is in crunch time, the ball should have been in Chris Paul's hands all the time.
Yep.
But you couldn't do that because it was James Harden's team.
I'd have Chris Paul out there with Steph personally.
All right.
That's what I would do.
And so Giannis is your 4 and Jokic is your 5.
I
and
mean,
LeBron
yeah,
is your 3.
I'd have been pretty comfortable rolling with that.
Okay. It might be hard to defend at the other end with that, but I got
Well,
you.
you ain't stopping. You ain't stopping me. You ain't
Defend
stopping
what?
me.
I'm not scoring you.
That's right. You ain't stopping me.
Yeah. Well, I think the Elam Ending is awesome, and like
We
a couple
agree
years
on
ago-
that. To be clear, the Elam Ending has
A
been
couple years ago, you saw Kyle Lowry out there. Like, I'm not saying I'm displacing any of those guys we just talked about. I know Kyle Lowry
Yeah.
wasn't on the team this year. If I had to construct my team and I didn't have the choice of everybody, I would want Kyle Lowry as an option.
Do we think the NBA should adopt the Elam Ending on a regular
No.
basis? Why?
No.
Why? The end of the games are the worst part.
Well, if you're, however Adam Silver, I almost said Adam Schefter, however Adam Silver wants to frame this in-season or mid-season tournament, is there a possibility that there could be a different way that those games are played? I am all for finding more ways to play this way because it is an absolute. I just think it's an absolute compliment if you can when all the all-stars are actually playing and they care, which we pretty much have not seen for a decade until this. And I was enraptured in Chicago in 2020. And I'm going to say watching the fourth quarter of the game over in Cleveland was one of the highlights of the last month in the NBA.
So why wouldn't you want that on an every game basis? Kirk Goldsberry wrote about it. Yeah, why not? Well, I mean, it's a major change. So is the 3-point line. Made the game better. Well, why do you want
98 like 98% of these games end on free throws, by the way. These
okay, but they're not ending on intentional fouls. They're not ending on, hey, we got to take a foul. It's not dude, the game is too
should we take football?
The end of games to be guys walking up and down the floor.
Should we take football and make the fourth quarter first team to score 2 touchdowns wins situation? Should we do that?
No, because 2 touchdowns aren't an average score in a quarter. You do
whatever.
I'll tell you what though. If to the point of what we're talking about here, even if it was just for a midseason tournament, and you changed like the way the games ended, the makeup of teams would be very different, and just like the makeup of the team that you'd pick would potentially be different. That's why, a guy like Jared Allen would potentially have so much more value, which is why. Maybe in the playoffs, we're going to see Jared Allen's value really explode. But I can't think of a greater compliment that Jared Allen could have been paid than being out there in that situation.
To answer your question, McMahon, I like to advance the sport and change things. I don't think everything needs to stay the same. I also don't think you need to fundamentally alter the way basketball games are played by completely changing the ending.
Yeah, or by like putting a 3-point line on the court or anything like that.
I mean, yes, you can argue that it's similar. I think it's more dramatic to change how games literally end and are played, but I'm fine with the clock.
Bontemps just humored us throughout this whole thing, McMahon. Thank you for watching the Hoop Collective. You can listen to us on the podcast form twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Have a good time, everybody.
Bontemps has all the joy of somebody watching fouls being committed on purpose. Adios, amigos.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.